My name is Master Batiste. I'm an 8th degree black belt and the director of WCRB Karate. This is my assistant, Andrea. She's a 1st degree black belt. Today, we're going to be looking at the white belt pattern. You should have viewed our earlier tape, white belt blocks, in order to perform this level. We start by doing the required punch. Stick your hand out. Okay, now the karate punch is different than a boxing punch. Notice that she's going to be keeping her shoulders completely on line as she does the punch. The extended hand, the palm is going to be down and the arm is going to be completely straight. The retracted hand, the palm is going to be up, elbow is going to be up at rib level. A lot of beginners, because they don't quite have the endurance strength of their arms, drop the fist to their below the belt level. So we're going to be keeping the punch above the belt. When she punches, she rotates the fist, keeping them at the same pace, and you have an equal and opposite exchange. So you don't have a push-pull type of situation. You have an equal and opposite exchange as you perform the punch. This is called a reverse punch because the fists actually change direction. They reverse positions when she's doing the punch. Next, we're going to be doing the first block and counter requirement. The rising block, she puts the blocking hand outside. Then she's going to be sliding back into a front stance, keeping her body straight, making sure that her knee bends fully. The foot actually did not turn, so the toes stay pointing towards the front of the room, and the back leg is straight. Then she elevates her blocking hand, making sure that it goes above the head and in front of the head, because after all, it is a protection move. So she's doing a rising block. To perform the punch, she extends the hand, then slides forward and executes that reverse punch. So that is the white belt rising block and punch. B. The next required move is the middle block. Now remember from the last tape, the blocking hand on the middle block begins beneath the non-blocking hand. She then slides her foot back, but this time moving in a back stance. Again, in the back stance, the knees have to be fully bent. Knees are bent and forced away from one another. This is very important. The non-blocking hand is going to pull to the side, and the blocking hand is going to begin to turn and swing out. Now again, to get the power in the punch, she extends the hand, slides forward into a front stance, and punches. Now notice again, when she's in the front stance, her body is straight, her shoulders are wall to wall. A common error for white belts is to let their bodies turn sideways as they perform this move. You don't want to do that. You want to exercise control. Martial arts work because of the angles. If you look closely when she's punching, she has a right angle here. So the right angle is coming from the arm into the shoulder. Step back. Okay, and the final move for this pattern is the down block. Again, from our earlier tape, she preps for the block by putting the blocking hand by her ear. She's going to be doing a front stance, so she slides the leg back. She then retracts the hand, slings the blocking hand down in front of her body. The body remains straight, knees bent, back leg is straight. She aims, pretends she's on skis so she doesn't cross her legs as she steps forward, executes the punch, and then steps back into a June B position. Those are the white belt blocks and counters. Now, to perform the pattern, she has to perform those blocks and counters on both sides. So she's going to begin by preparing for the rising block. She's going to step out and slightly back. She turns into the front stance and executes the rising block. To get the power, she's going to be aiming, slides forward, does that piston push and pull motion with her hands. Now she has to do the block on her other side. To do this, she gets her hands out of the way. She's going to take her front leg and not only slide it back, but slide it over an imaginary line. That means when she turns, her legs are now going to be, again, shoulder width apart. The body's straight. She then does a rising block. She's going to aim, slide forward, execute an equal and opposite exchange on those punches. Now she prepares for the middle block. Every time she turns to her left, it's going to be 90 degrees. She turns 90 degrees into a back stance, making sure that the knees are bent. The blocking hand is going to be underneath, non-blocking hand on top. She retracts the non-blocking hand. The blocking hand begins to turn over and push out. It rests a little bit higher than her shoulder. She then aims, slides forward into a front stance. Now, in order to slide into that front stance, she had to separate her feet as she moves in. She's going to be turning to her right. Anytime she turns to her right, she'll be moving 180 degrees. So she prepares by putting the blocking hand beneath her. She's going to be turning fully behind her, 180 degrees, into a back stance. She retracts the non-blocking hand, does the middle block. She then aims, remembers to separate her feet because she's moving into a front stance. She moves into the front stance, separating her feet, shoulders are straight, equal and opposite exchange on the push and pull, executes the punch. Finally, she's going to be doing the down block. From our earlier tape, we spoke about the down block being started at the ear level. So she turns, again, an imaginary line's coming out of her heel. She has to cross that line to make sure that her feet are shoulder width apart. She then executes the block, aims, an equal and opposite exchange on the push and pull to execute the punch. Finally, she's going to be preparing for the final down block. It's going to be to her right. Anytime she does a right hand block, she's going to move 180 degrees. She makes her turn by stepping her foot over an imaginary line, resting in a front stance. She does the down block. She aims, and then she slides forward and does the punch. Goes to a June B position. Now, at this time, we're going to ask her to do the pattern at test speed. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Begin. B.
Discipline, sir.
And that concludes our demonstration of the white belt WCRB basic pattern.